Welcome to the Wednesday stream. I hope everyone's having an awesome Wednesday morning. I hope everyone has grabbed their favorite beverage, whether it be coffee, water, juice, and is ready to do some news, yeah? Hey, sourcing, happy hump day, yes. Howdy, howdy, howdy. So, in case you guys are, I suppose, living under a rock, we all know what happened the last 24, 48 hours. And holy yikes, is right-wing, I guess, on the right-wing online spheres freaking out about what happened with Sam Cedar. Namely, the quartering. Has anybody seen what happened in the quartering? I'm hearing you didn't make me coffee. I'm sorry, Grom. Hold on. Cheers? Coffee? Do I need to like start the stream at my do I need to start the stream at my kitchen with like a little like IRL with my phone and then make the intro just the coffee brewing and make the intro the coffee brewing? I mean, we could do that. Perfect, right? Yeah, that's an idea. That's an idea. I can do the starting soon screen is just literally an IRL stream of the coffee brewing. Yeah, that's a great idea. Hey KTS, yeah, it's been an insane 48 hours. I mean, like, holy yikes. Are these people freaking out? I think, like, also Tim Pool is freaking out too. I think the best way to do it here, hold on. Tim has FOMO. Did he already make a video about it? I bet he did. I bet he did. Hey Memo, it's because they're losing their minds. They're losing their minds after seeing Cold Feet Crowder. Lots of them have joined left-wing streams to defend Crowder. So many streamers have had their audience double this week on average. I mean, hey, listen. I mean, if you have to play defense so hard for a person who wouldn't even want to play defense for their own beliefs, why are you doing that? Like that's a question for me. From me to like the Crowder stands. Imagine trying to defend somebody who couldn't even defend their ideas when challenged. Why are you defending that person then? just saying. Tim is crying about Sam not coming to his Lost Boys compound. Yeah, I know. To vaccinate 60% of the world population at this rate will take 3 years. Even without mutations, we are too slow. Also, immunization lasts only 6 months. I actually don't know if that's true. I know that, like, natural immunizations are... I know that natural immunizations don't last that long, but as far as I can tell, the actual vaccine immunization is pretty decent. And it's also incredibly effective against, like, multiple strains. They're trying to keep the pandemic as long as increase. I don't know. I don't know about natural immunity being 2 months. I haven't seen the studies, and I'm not gonna platform any nonsense. So I'm not sure. But I do know that the vaccine immunity studies are showing that it's actually a lot longer than we had originally expected, if I'm correct. Okay. How long does the COVID vaccine protect you? I said many. We don't know how long the vaccines last yet. Yeah, we do know that they last what they studied for, which was 6 months, which I think that's where your 6 months come from. That's the minimum, okay? Because that's what they studied it for. But we actually don't know. So yeah. The correct answer is we don't know yet. So just be... Nah, I'm good, Zibaraski. Howdy, howdy. Yeah, I don't have links in chat. What? Hold on, a big streamer on the left that I won't mention, to be fair, was defending Crowder's calling his staff quarter... What? Yikes. Okay. That's pretty cringe. But we can take a wild guess, I imagine. Morning, morning. Siprowski, they said a big streamer on the left. On the left. Tim Pool's not on the left. Someone small and on Twitch had to block them. Yikes. Yeah, political teen Howard Stern. Saying may last only 6 months could have implied meaning that we can expect it not to last more than 6 months. It's better to be clear about what we know and what we cannot know. True. True. Hey, how's it going? Hey Alex, how's it going? I'm alright alive, how are you? I'm hanging in there. I'm glad. Alex. Cedar makes me sick anyways? Interesting. Why is that? Recovering fine? Okay. That's good to hear. Alright, folks. What's 6 months? I don't know. It makes me cackle, especially when I can see Connor shaking his diapers. I'm not sure that's really appropriate. But, also not true. Not necessarily. Can you, provide that? Can you provide, like, a serious... I'm going to be charitable and think that you're just saying he's a suck-up to the Democratic Party. Alright, listen. If you keep spamming, you're gonna get timed out. Can you provide evidence of this claim? Or are you just making random claims? Yeah, wait, I don't know. So, hey, listen. How do you feel? I have a question. How do you feel about, how do you feel about a caricature named Infrared? How do you feel about the caricature named Infrared? Yeah, he's a caricature. Do you know what that means? What about them? Do you think that... Do you think that's a clown like infrared is good? Okay, that's all I need to know. Thank you. Oh man. Yeah, so the real reason why that happened is because we got some more credible information that this person is just gonna go further and further, and we just want to avoid that TOS nonsense, you know? Not good, not great. Thank you. I appreciate that. You know, what I really like about this kind of like intertwined community is that we all talk to each other. What I like about this community is that we all talk to each other, and we all kind of like do what we can to protect, you know, protect each other. And yeah, yes, there it is. There it is, folks. I would repeat what I just got, but I can't. But I would repeat what this person is Oh man, thank you Grom. This is how I know. This is how I know we did the right thing. And like I said, I appreciate this community that is always you know, talking to each other. This is probably another of the 21,359 million alt accounts that we you know, just keep seeing pop around. That's right. What do you think about gay men not being allowed to donate blood? That's incredibly cringe. Wait, that's discriminatory. Why shouldn't they be allowed to donate blood? Howdy howdy. Yeah, this is the grown-up table, okay? Now come on. It is a remnant of the reaction of 88. Yes, that's right. Right, but regardless, regardless of your sexual orientation or anything like that, your blood is always screened. Like, it doesn't matter. They specifically ask you. They specifically ask you if you have like an STD or anything like that, or if you've ever been diagnosed. But regardless, right, that's correct, Golem. But either way, that regardless of your oh, it's okay. Hold on, I see. Yeah, you can go all the way out of here with that. So just to let you know, Grolem, they always screen your blood type, no matter what, what orientation you are, right? So like, it doesn't matter what orientation you are, the blood that you donate is always screened. Because I mean, like, even when you answer, even if you answer the questions, even when you answer, even when you answer the questions, they still test it, right? So I don't know. It just feels like a really weird thing to do, to just say like, oh, specific group can't donate blood because of orientation. No, that's not right. But this person was just literally a homophobe. The person who came on, thanks to my little auto catch, Grolum, they weren't trying to approach this in a real way. Grolum, they were trying to say that they were trying to basically do the whole 80s trope of like just gay people have AIDS kind of trope. Yeah, so that's why I'm saying like this wasn't the person who was trying to approach this in a real conversation. So like the TLDR is that you should be allowed to donate blood regardless of orientation and regardless of how you answer the questions. I do believe, from what I understand, they still screen the blood. They check the blood. Yeah, there you go. Thank you, Grom Sereno. There we go. That the TLDR is exactly what Grom said. My dad used to work at a blood bus. They check the blood and other things to check for other than AIDS in the blood. There you go. There you go. That's it. Alright, folks, we do have to get through some of these headlines. I guess Tim Pool hasn't released any videos. I was hoping we could get a video, but nope. Just molding on Twitter. Just molding on Twitter. Lots of good vids on Discord this week. I think this one might be good. I see. KTS Shine. Really? Not gonna lie, to those hurting for an income, selling plasma is an actual resource I find to be worth. Yeah, true. I did see one Tim Pool video where he called Sam a grifter. It's so weird coming from him. True. Yeah. That's right. They screened the blood. I wouldn't see that anywhere. I wouldn't see why they wouldn't, right? That would make absolutely no sense why anybody, regardless of what they answer, like, wouldn't screen the blood. Like, I don't know.
This should infuriate you. This should infuriate you because it shows you just how broken, backwards, corrupt, and stupid the system is. So ABC News said the following. Flight cancellations. American Airlines was forced to cancel hundreds of flights this weekend due to significant staff shortages and maintenance issues. The airline says it will continue to cancel 50 to 80 flights a day well into July. So that's what's currently going on with American Airlines. Now, you might hear that and say, okay, that sucks, that's bad, but I don't understand. Why is Kyle talking about this? Doesn't he usually do more political commentary, economic commentary? Seems like a strange story to bring up. Seems very niche. Well, the response to that is, no, it's not. Because just recently, when COVID first hit, American Airlines got nearly $7 billion in bailout money. $7 billion. And you're canceling flights now? Well, then why do we give you that money? Why do we give you the bailout money if you weren't going to be operational or you weren't going to be up to the task?
I've got a few ideas.
When things rebound. But it gets worse. So they got $7 billion in bailout money. They paid their CEO about $10 million. I thought that it's supposed to be tied to your performance. I thought that that's the way a meritocracy and capitalism is supposed to work. Hey, the better you do, the more you're going to get compensated. Did he do better? The airlines almost all went belly up. So why'd you pay him $10 million? Why'd you pay? So he got $10 million, the CEO. Guess what? The CEO got $10 million. Then they laid off at the same time 30,000 people. So look at all those facts. $7 billion bailout for American Airlines. The CEO was paid $10 million at the same time. They laid off 30,000 workers. And now they're forced to cancel hundreds of flights this weekend due to significant staff shortages and maintenance issues. They're going to cancel 50 to 80 flights a day well into July. Yeah. Understand something, guys. It's time for a brand new law to put on the books. Any company that takes bailout money and lays people off and pays exorbitant CEO rates should be instantly nationalized. Instantly. Because it's a scam. Like, all the facts I just described you are a scam. And it should be treated as such. That should be treated as a scam. It should be treated as fraudulent. It should be criminal. Listen, it's time when CEOs commit crimes, when owners of giant corporations commit crimes, it's time to start locking some people up. Why is it law and order only applies to, like...
That's right, Gurlem.
Petty crimes for, like, a convenience store? Never applies to Wall Street or the military-industrial complex. Or to people with real power in the country. To oligarchs. By the way, where did the $7 billion go?
Right, I wouldn't mind if that's how it's supposed to work.
The whole idea of the bailout is we want to make sure...
That's the whole, the whole entire, thing behind it is that, well, if a company is, well-equipped and can handle all of this, it'll survive, and if not, somebody else will take over it. That's the whole point, right? But no, they're not interested in any of that. It's really strange to me how they, have this belief of, the free market and all of that, and yet have no problems signing off on bailouts.
Everything keeps running smoothly in society, so the taxpayers are going to rush in and bail you out so we can make sure everything's okay, and when people need to fly, they have the ability to fly.
And the cycle continues, right? It's the same old story. Exactly, sourcing. They never learned. We had this debate last summer of whether the airlines should be bailed out because every time they get a bailout, they just give it to execs. And what did they do? Exactly what they do every single time. There's no such thing as a free market, in quotations. That's right.
We're not going to let all the airlines go belly up. So you got bailed out, and then that thing that wasn't supposed to happen is happening. So you guys probably return that $7 billion then now, shouldn't you?
Ha!
You were paid the money to make sure everything keeps working, and it's not working.
That's right.
So give the money back.
That's right, bread crocheting.
Where'd that money go? Where'd the $7 billion go? This is unbelievable, man. And again, this is stuff that will not be talked about in the way it should be talked about. You turn on the nightly news, and they go through a list of, petty crimes, whether it's assaults or, like I said, stealing from a convenience store or something, and they try to scare you. These are the people in society you need to be afraid of. The poor is doing terrible things. Ah! What they don't tell you is the criminals wearing suits and ties. They don't tell you about that too much.
Yeah, because then
and
people would be
don't dive
asking
into
a lot
what
of
the
questions.
Answers are.
Yeah,
and what the solutions would be.
Right. So here's the thing with how you have a crack in democracy when you don't have transparency, right? When you don't have the full information, you don't know, and you can't make decisions based off that, right? It's a problem, and it's what makes democracies weak, right? And it's what makes democracies weak, because if we had this information, if we understood as a general, not just the people who live who are terminally politics, right? Not terminally online, but terminally political. Only these people understand what's happening. We need to make it so that the general public is aware and and there's information, transparency as to what exactly are these bailouts. How are these bailouts going to affect you? Right? That should be the question. How are these bailouts, these trillion-dollar packages, going to affect you? Wait, hold on. Are you saying that a multinational company needs a bailout? Wait, so what are they doing? How did they get this bailout? And why am I only getting, I don't know, just to give you an idea from the first check, $600? That's really weird. And these are the rhetorical questions that need to be posed. Okay, because then the more and more people realize how we're getting screwed, the more and more people will change the way, the more and more people will change their mind generally if we have all the information in front of us and move accordingly, right? But unfortunately, that's not what's happening. We're getting problems with the media not like giving us the full picture. We're getting problems with politicians being politicians. We have problems with our institutions that aren't transparent or inclusive or strong, and they're getting, you know, it's essentially failing. No answers are being produced for the people, and everybody suffers as a result of lack of, essentially, leadership. Between me, you, and Chad, yeah, I'm incredulous that this is not malice. Why can't we have more Katie Porters? Yeah, well, because like the people who are attempting to question always kind of get picked in a bad light, right? The people who are trying to question and just you know, take a look further at what's happening always kind of get put in a bad light, right? Body cams for the Congress people? No, what we need is just like a wave of like information, like real information, right? If there's a bill coming down the pipeline and Congress is about to have a debate between bill X, Y, or Z, that needs to be as public and easy to digest as possible so that people can be like, wait, hold on, why is Congress proposing this? And then they can be aware of what Congress is doing. If there's a bill coming down your pipeline for local city council or for state legislature, that should be as public, as accessible, and as clear and easy to understand as possible, right? So that people can look at it and be like, hold on, wait a minute. Wait. Why is this bill being proposed again? How is this going to affect me? What's the point of this bill? What problem is it trying to solve again? Don't we have this other thing to work on? Like, it gives people the ability to start asking questions and act accordingly. I mean, like, we have city council meetings for a reason, and if you have, or if you're informed, you can make better decisions, right? The same thing goes at the federal level. If there's a bill going around that's going to affect everybody in this country, it should be as clear, easy, and concise as possible so that people can call up the word representative, as in they supposedly, allegedly represent you, so that then you can petition them and be like, hey, no, or yes, this is a great idea. That's the whole point. But it's not working at this time. It's not working. The real BS thing is that the propaganda is so strong from the wealthy that when people like us want to start accountability for the wealthy, there are poor people. Conservatives usually, who are defending the capitalist leech, who aren't penalized for negative behavior. You hear things like, oh, these leftists are just jelly of rich people, lazy leftists just want to be rich. Yeah, like, no, I think like it just depends on how like the framing is, but usually that's a very disingenuous way of looking at things, because like, I mean, you have to admit that there's, at this point in time, such a unsustainable level of income inequality. I mean, it isn't even like it isn't even like ignorable, right? This isn't even something that you can hide away with like numbers or anything like that. This is an unsustainable levels of income inequality that we haven't seen in quite some time. And I think in our country has never been like this, right? And it's unsustainable, it's unhealthy. Society can't function like this. And that doesn't mean even just understanding that concept doesn't even mean that you're not necessarily even a lefty. Like, you're right. The propaganda is very strong and it's incredibly effective. Why? Because they're good at it. As soon as you start questioning capitalism, you're labeled a commie or a socialist, therefore evil. Right. And that's a problem, because like there's a perfectly good reason as to why people are starting to question our current economic system. It's not working. This is why the Overton window is so important to understand. We're currently in America where the window is forced all the way to the right, even though half of the people here make it seem like we're somehow a leftist socialist nation. Yeah, like the like our friend who came over on Saturday, who was thinking that countries like Sweden are socialist. Countries like Norway are socialist. People don't read any of these bills. It's about cheap slogans and narratives, not serious discussions. Twitch, for example, 99% of conversations here is people looking for confirmation bias. You're slandering my socialist utopian homeland of Sweden. Yes. Well, the thing is, like, I do agree that, but these are two separate things, Tim. These are two separate things, right? Of course, when people look at political commentators, political, like, bobbleheads online, myself included, generally speaking, it's because you already agree with these people, more or less, right? More or less. Some people just go around looking for different views. Some people just go around trolling. That's fine. But to the first part, that's the problem. Okay? These bills, these proposals, this legislation isn't concise or easy to access or easy to understand, right? And that's the problem. People really don't even understand. There's so much narratives and twisting of the truth every time something comes up, like HR1, right? How much different narratives and propose and like different points of view, it's different spun points of view have we seen about like HR1. The reality is, when you actually look at the bill, like the real bill, first of all, it's a little bit lengthy, but we can gather from it that actually it's not a half bad idea. Not a half bad idea when you actually look at it. You don't know that unless you actually have access and have the time to read this thing. But people aren't going to understand like a 10-page, 11-page, 32-page bill. Just make it simple, concise, and easy to access for the public so that they can be like, wait a minute, I don't like this. Let me call up my representative. Wait a minute, hold on. This is a good idea. If my representative doesn't vote for this, I'm going to call them up and say I'm not going to support them anymore. Whatever, you know, you got my point. I have a funny video when an aerospace company gets profits during the pandemic and still asks for bailouts. Holy yikes. Hey Wing, this crowd of nonsense was just an example of people's standards have how low standards people have when it comes to having trying a serious conversation. Um, well, to be quite fair, there was never going to be a conversation in that 5 minutes or couple of minutes. It was literally just Steven Crowder crying, shaking in his boots, and then running away. However, if he really wanted to have a serious conversation, out of all the people he could have had it with, I think Sam Cedar would have been a perfect match. Why not? I will say this though, this does not change my position about how like we've gone from like making like good debates, you know, like back in the day with Chomsky, the conversations like Chomsky has had with like Foucault and these other folks, even the debate between Peterson and Zizek, these were real debates. Unfortunately, because of what we're encouraged in terms of like algorithm, the Twitch, the YouTubes, it's become sort of a spectacle, and I will say that I do not like that. I don't like that real issues, like serious conversations, as you said, are now spectacles to be had. You know? And I'm not necessarily like a fan of that. Yeah, the blood sports debates have already been kind of had. This debating we have today is just blood sport entertainment simply. Yeah, but like still, like the core issues are real issues. They're incredibly important to talk, like they're incredibly serious issues, and we've made blood sports out of it. I don't know. Like I'm not necessarily on board. I understand that there is some utility to it, I'm sure. I'm just saying that's not how I would do things, and I don't agree with the making it a spectacle, right? Yeah, throw it up in chat, or send it to me, Genesis. Send it to me. Sorry, yeah, I have links disabled. Just send it to me in DMs.
So, just so you understand, guys, we have the worst of all worlds when it comes to our system. Because under a pure laissez-faire capitalist system, which, by the way, I don't support that, but under even that system,
yeah,
you know what a guy...
Right, because that would, like, you know that Noam Chomsky isn't, like, there for the clicks, right? Noam Chomsky isn't there for the entertainment. Noam Chomsky is there to throw his hat in like the terms of like when people are battling ideas. Thank you. They're not clout chasers. There you go. People like Noam Chomsky, whether you like him, whether you disagree with him, whether you are a fan of his, he goes there to debate ideas. He's there to be like, all right, well, this is what I believe, and I'm going to defend that. That's it. I mean, like, that's it. Let's have a discussion about X, Y, or Z. And give it the respect it deserves. I think that people like Chomsky are valuable like that. I think that debates, when it comes to people like Noam Chomsky and things like that, are good. Chomp. Ski is great, but he's near the end. Seems like Steve mentioned him because he wants to beat up an old man. Well, I mean, like, he also lied about it because I think Sam Cedar has talked to Chomsky in the past too. You want to know a secret of mine? I've probably converted a lot of people. Well, don't make it a secret. One-on-one and private are more effective. I think there's value in that. I don't think I'm gonna find things that I'm looking for here. Main issues for me are left versus right, cult mentality, uneducated people not doing any research, confirmation bias, no solutions for anything, just names. Just to name a few of what came to my mind. Well, yeah, I mean, like, having just a specific cult mentality is bad. I get that. Uneducated people, okay, yeah, that's a problem. I've mentioned that part of the things that we need to do is be more transparent. Okay, how do we be more transparent? People need to be educated. Yeah. Not doing any research and just agreeing with everything. Yeah. Performative discussions do not allow for honesty in most cases. Sam's talked to Chomsky as recent as August. They're like supposed to text every. Yeah. I know, KTS. Putting someone on blast ends up just pissing them off. Yep, I think so. I think that what Genesis said is also like a good thing. Generally speaking, what I say, and anybody can check the receipts, check the VODs, is if somebody has a serious disagreement, unless it's like related to the topic, I try. Unless it's related to the topic, or it's Saturday where we have a more casual, just anything goes. Now, if you want to have a debate, if you want to be one of those debate me bros, just send me a DM. We'll talk it out. If you have like serious disagreements, you know, we check the DMs. Don't worry. If you have serious disagreements, just DM us, right? Like, there's no need to make a spectacle out of things. I've always said that. Rhetoric is to the masses. Yep. Alright, that's it. That's it, sourcing. Banned. I'm kidding.
Lockheed is writing a letter to the White House, just wrote a letter to the White House, asking taxpayers to give Lockheed bailout funds.
Rhetoric is to the masses as dialogue is to privacy.
I'm not aware of that letter, Congresswoman.
So you're telling me that it is Lockheed Martin's statement on the record that there is no request for additional money related to things like the Main Street Lending Program, or the money set aside specifically in CARES for national security companies?
Ma'am, I'm not aware of a specific letter. I am aware relative to COVID-19 and CARES Act, relative to the disruption to aerospace.
So, Surfer Girl Gritty, it's the same old story, same old song and dance, right? Corporations cry about bailouts, make massive money, use said bailouts for executive compensation, and the cycle continues. Is there Katie Porter on YouTube? What's her Twitch? I don't know if she has a Twitch.
I don't know the specifics of the letter you're mentioning.
Howdy.
Did Lockheed Martin request money under the CARES Act?
Yes, ma'am.
Why?
Because of the disruption associated with COVID-19.
Because of the disruption that caused you to have a profit of 15% over the prior year when we didn't have COVID-19? That doesn't mean, maybe making gobs of money is disruption for you, but I think for most everyday Americans, if they'd seen their income go up 15% this year, if they were making $3.5 billion in profit in 2020, they wouldn't call that a disruption. They'd call that a miracle. And they would not be
thank you for the follow. I appreciate that.
To take more taxpayer dollars at the same time that you are.
Good morning, Comrade Radio. Thank you for the raid. I appreciate that. Thank you.
With regard to the F-35 Joint Strike Force, I'm unable to understand why you need this additional money.
Welcome, everybody.
When your profits are up and you've breached your contracts with regard to producing defective parts. Why should the taxpayer foot the bill to help Lockheed Martin at this time?
This is so embarrassing.
Disruption associated with COVID-19 requires many different aspects relative to health and welfare of employees, the supply base associated with...
reclaiming my time. Use your 15% increase in profit to pay to protect your workers during COVID.
That's your job. You're employing these people.
Congresswoman, we're doing that.
Why are we footing the bill to help a company that's having an uber profitability moment that is a pandemic star?
Congresswoman, no funds have been provided. relative to the CARES Act.
Wait, do we have a
But you
raid
have
command?
apps.
Or did I mess that up? Oh, I think it's
Yes.
raids.
Just like many aerospace and defense companies.
One wrong
Nope,
doesn't make a
I
right.
guess
With that, I yield back.
I messed it up. I'm gonna have to go back and check it. Yeah, no, this is great. This is great. COVID has been biggest money grab in human history to the rich. Every stats show it true. Which is what by the way, Surfer Go Gritty, which is what we're coming to ahead with the Kyle Kalinske video, right?
I like Ron Paul would say, looking at this, you shouldn't have bailed him out. Why would you even fucking bail him out?
Whether you're building dynamic
Graph algorithms. Are you trying to say I should learn to code?
If they're not making it, tough cookies. They're going to go out of business.
Yeah, I don't know.
Some other
bro.
airline will pop up and maybe
I
they'll
guess I'll
fill
have
the
to
demand
figure it
when
out.
the time is necessary, but they should go out of business. That's what an actual libertarian would say. So this isn't even
We boycott
this isn't
now.
even just capitalism. You know what it is? This is corporatism. Because it is the government rushing in and taking tax money and bailing out the corporations. This is like a corporatocracy. So it's the worst of all worlds. It's too big to fail. It's privatize the profits and socialize the losses.
Right, which is what Gorlum kind of said earlier. I mean, like, this is beyond me as to why. Hold on, like the people who like are seriously anti, government interference and stuff like that. Why are they signing off on like these massive bailouts to companies that don't need them? Damn it, Gary! Thank you for the follow. It's just unbelievably infuriating. Like, why are all of this massive amounts of money being transferred to these corporations who are not in the negative, who are perfectly fine, right? Who are perfectly fine, in fact, making profits because of the bailout and because they're being propped up by the governmental, economics stimulus. Instead of wasting all that money, they should have propped up the people, right? That's who picks this economy up. That's who makes this economy. The working class, the middle class, and the small businesses. That's who makes this economy. Without them, everything crumbles. Okay? Because guess what? Unfortunately, and as unsustainable as it may be, we live in a consumerist economy. Who do you think consumes? Oh my god. The millionaires and the billionaires, yep. By the way, for those of you that don't know who we are A Difficult Truth. We do politics Monday through Thursday, news and politics Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And we do Saturday Catterdays on Saturday afternoons. So just come hang out with us, come hang out with the kitty cats. We have a great time. If we just decide to stop working, just even decrease by 5%, will force the rich into their knees. I mean, like, something has got to change, that's for sure. Very excited about the socialist mayor in Buffalo. Did he get elected?
This is exactly what we saw with Wall Street, with the subprime mortgage crisis and the Great Recession in 2008. This is
yes. Oh, hey guys, chat. Let me give me 1 second. Good morning. Hold on. Send it to me in DMs. So, chat, how many times have we seen, or have I said, that this is some 2008 vibes? How many times have I said this is some 2008 vibes, maybe with a sprinkle of more? I mean, it's not looking good, folks. I hope people are understanding that what may come, and I hope it doesn't. I hope, like, course correction, economic stabilizers are done appropriately. Otherwise, we're looking at some very tough times ahead.
Exactly what we saw. The same thing. Same thing. These companies went belly up. The CEOs made horrendous decisions that bankrupted themselves. Then federal government stepped in, bailed out a lot of these companies. Then those companies turned around and paid bonuses to the same people that just made all the terrible decisions and bankrupted their companies.
Yeah.
The system is a joke. The system is completely rigged. And this is what you get when you have money in politics and when you have campaign contributions, which are just legal bribes, and you have all these big corporations and all these billionaires giving money to politicians, then politicians look out for them because they get paid by them. I scratch your back, you scratch mine. This is the system.
I have now go following here.
Legal bribery. And so that's why, would you look at that? Anytime there's a bailout, it's always top down in this country. Never
Yes.
bottom up. They didn't step in 08 and say, Jesus Christ, we have to bail out the people, the homeowners, because they're going to be kicked out of their houses.
Yeah, no,
houses
they
are going
didn't
to be
care about
foreclosed
that.
on. We got to stop this. No, they gave the money to the corporations that gave out the predatory loans. And then you still got foreclosed on.
Yep.
What?
And now the sad part is those people, a lot of them, those people who saw the problems with the 2008 crash, it's quite possible that now some of those same people are looking at this and, oh my goodness, Dan Simpson, thank you so much, I appreciate that 6-month streak, love your face. Those same people are now at risk of losing everything again.
It's rigged. The whole system is rigged. This is such a great example of it. Tell me why we shouldn't nationalize American Airlines. Give me a good reasons why we shouldn't nationalize it. Why shouldn't we nationalize it? If you're going to bail them out $7 billion, the CEO gets $10 million, and you fire 30,000 workers, why the fuck shouldn't we bail them out? Everything went wrong. Everything that could have went wrong did go wrong. It's a scam. It's fraudulent. This is what's happening here. And of course, there's going to be no consequences. That's the reality. There will be no consequences for this. Talk about a house of cards economy.
Wow.
And we haven't even gotten into the eviction moratorium ending and rent surging and Wall Street buying up all the houses and making them out of reach. That's the whole BlackRock story. I haven't even discussed that. But this one example right here really is just the perfect encapsulation, the microcosm of just how fake the economy is and how fraudulent and scammy everything is.
Yep. Thank you. Hold on. Hold on. Let me pause this for a second. First of all, hello, Dan Simpson. Thank you for the support. I appreciate that. Thank you. Second of all, Katie from YT Chat. As a victim of the subprime mortgages, this all feels very familiar in the pit of my stomach. Thank you. So this is not just something in my head, right? This is not just something that's in my head that I'm just fabricating in my own head, right? This is something that people need to be aware of, and I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, my parents got taken by the ARM scams. Whew. Dan's a man. True. I feel the avalanche coming. Yikes. I really hope that's not the case. I really hope so, but it's not good. American Airlines furloughed and offered early retirement packages to pilots and failed to certify new pilots to replace them. Yikes. Probably because it costs too much money.
It's embarrassing. It's honestly embarrassing. It's embarrassing. And everybody knows it. Everybody sees it. Everybody knows this is a rotten, disgusting, corrupt system that doesn't represent them. Everybody sees it. How can you not see it?
I don't know.
When you hear all the facts I just said, how do you not see it?
Something, scary communism, something.
Playing with fire, man. Playing with fire.
That's true.
Lock these fuckers up. No more bailouts, or if there are going to be bailouts, there for shit sure better be strings attached, and rigid ones at that.
Ooh, I don't know.
Everything should be clearly defined.
I mean, yes, but also, like, nah. I'm sorry. Nah.
But understand, this was the point. This was the point of, like, the CARES Act.
That's right.
This was the point.
There you go. The Tim F. Denmark and Finland made huge efforts to bail out small businesses. It was their main focus. Yeah.
Oh my God, we have a pandemic. and an economic downturn, let's use this as an excuse to just make it rain on all the corporations and make it rain on the billionaires and give them more money. You go look at the numbers. I don't remember them off the top of my head, but how much richer billionaires got, how much more rich they got during this pandemic.
Too much.
How much more money Jeff Bezos has.
Too much.
You go look. Meanwhile, everybody else is struggling. This is infuriating. This is infuriating.
Yeah, that's disturbing. I hate to be doomerish, but I see homeless camps pop up in my city cemeteries. Very polarizing analogy. It's literally being 1 foot in the grave. Yeah, I'm telling you, I don't know. I hope this is all just not the same way, but I do feel like some 2008 vibes, some Weimar Republic vibes. The Weimar Republic vibes. Not good. Not good. I got a notification of a story saying the IRS now offers an option for parents to opt out of child tax credits. They're so worried about regular people getting extra money, but not these big corporations. Yep. It even gives them a website to opt out. Hey, James Napper. In contrast, the government doesn't hear the voices of, say, minimum wage workers getting laid off from a coffee shop because they don't have a voice. True. And don't have leverage on government to make them listen, which is why I tend to emphasize more on the voice argument rather than just the government is corrupt and we need to replace them. If you replace them without changing the voice, you're likely going to get the same outcome. Yeah, so, I mean, like, I think that what you're saying is that obviously there's a disbalance. There's an unbalance here where it's kind of weird how, you know, obviously multinational corporations or people that have access to a lot of money and wealth and are exerting undue influence, overtaking the voice of the actual, like, you know, the majority of people, right? Now, what you can do is to kind of turn that around, is to first of all make sure that money in politics is limited or publicly funded or completely gone. Lobbying either should become illegal or highly regulated to the point where corporations don't to the point where corporations or wealthy people don't have a disproportionate balance above everybody else, right? All I heard was corporations are people, pretty much. The TLDR, thank you. I don't understand why this big corporation didn't just start making coffee at home and stop buying avocado toast. That's right. They need to stop taking handouts from the government. I encourage and show the phone numbers of federal representatives to contact them. It's your government and your society. True. Yeah, yes. But I do definitely think they only hear certain voices, they only get certain information, which will make them more often not make decisions in favor of who they hear, which is elite, wealthy group of individuals. That's because those same people have made it so that they're the ones who are in government's ears, right? So yeah, like the idea of government itself isn't the problem, right? The idea of the government itself as a thing isn't inherently the problem. I completely understand that. Alright folks, we got some oops. Maybe they could have stopped doing commercial leases on buildings they don't need, allowing people to work remote and thus saving millions on physical infrastructure. Yeah, I mean, true. That makes too much sense though. Alright, in good semi-feel good news, marijuana legalization is sweeping states from Connecticut to Mexico. The writing is on the wall. The US is nearing a tipping point of sorts on marijuana legalization. Almost half the country, about 44% of the population, now lives in a state where marijuana is legal or soon will be legal to consume just for fun, recreational. The past several months alone have been a burst of activity as 5 states across the US legalized marijuana for recreational use. New Jersey, New York, Virginia, New Mexico, and on Tuesday, which was yesterday, Connecticut. So congratulations, you guys did it. You did the thing. It's a massive shift that took place over a few years. Decades ago, no states allowed for marijuana for recreational use. The first state to legalize cannabis was in 2012 was Colorado and Washington. They did so through voter-driven initiatives, direct action. Now 18 states and Washington, D.C. have legalized marijuana, though D.C. doesn't allow yet sales, with 6 enacting their laws through legislators, showing even typically cautious politicians are embracing this issue. At this point, the question of nationwide legalization is more a matter of when, not if. At least 2/3 of the American public support the change based on various public opinion surveys in recent years. I mean, like, at this point, like, the TLDR is, first of all, congratulations to Connecticut, and, how many times, I mean, how long do we have to wait? How many more states before it just becomes a federal thing? I mean, like, seriously, it is incredibly important to just end this drug war effectively, right? That's effectively the direction it would go if the more you legalize and decriminalize drugs. Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. There's plenty of polls showing that people want, and government simply ignore those needs because mainly they answer to corporate masters. True. Pennsylvania to vote on recreational weed in November. Make sure you get the word out for those of you in Pennsylvania. Be sure to pay attention. Hey, Darknet, just make it federally legal already? Yeah, I mean, it's just a matter of time. I mean, like, really, at this point, like, it should just be legal, okay? Legalization, decriminalization of drugs is the way to go. Placebo Lauren, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. Is the way to go simply just because, like, this would be a huge step in ending the drug war. It's enough, you know? Hello, I thought it was about time I popped in. Hey, how's it going? Welcome, welcome. So yeah, I think it's about time that, we just end the drug war, right? I mean, little by little, inch by inch, but I don't understand billionaire hoarding. If they paid people better, they would have more money to buy the stuff businesses are selling. It's exposing a little the ultra rich. Think of most people, I guess. I don't know. It just, because it doesn't make sense, right? Like, every single like, logical decision points to just treat your employees like human beings, right? Treat your employees good, pay them well, give them all, good benefits, and wow, amazing. Not only do they perform because they're being taken care of, but your business thrives too. So, like, I don't know. That's right. Just because you're wealthy does not mean you have being wealthy doesn't have a correlation with being logical or intelligent, right? Just because you're wealthy does not mean you're either of those things. I mean, ideally, Jaredomus Prime, the data usually points in that direction. Usually, because, like, they'll have increase in profits. People, as Katie from YT Chat just pointed out, it's good just for PR. People will see that and say, hey, you know what? I'll give that company my business. Having a lot of wealth just means you're a hoarder and or abusive person. Neither of those things implies care for others. True. That is true. Truing. The walls are closing in for this issue on legalization. Opponents and quickly, many politicians have played it cautiously in response to these trends, while some high-profile Democrats, including Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, have come out in support. Biden continues to oppose legalization. Republicans, including Trump, are most entirely opposed. Yeah, so you can either propel yourself to the future or stay in the past. Mr. Joe Biden, you have the ability to do this. You have the ability to change this. That is up to you. You can motivate Congress and make it so. Speaking of drug war, what a disaster. And that's been true. That's right, Katie. Howdy, howdy. Make it so. The U.S. is expected to extend CDC residential eviction bans by 1 month. So, I mean, like, seriously, how effed are we that we keep pushing and pushing and pushing the eviction moratoriums 1 month and continuously keep pushing it 1 month at a time, right? Honestly, I think that the reason why they're doing this is because a lot of federal aid and a lot of state and federal aid are just so slow to get out to the actual person that it's taken way longer than expected, so they've had to continue to kick this can down the road. But the problem with that is that the problem itself also gets bigger. So yeah. Just cancel rent? Yeah, I saw a proposal in California that they're thinking of just using all the surplus of money that they have, and just start providing like just straight rent relief cancellation. Let's just start from square zero again. Conservative states are cutting federal aid, so homelessness is about to get worse. Yikes. Unionization of the workspace is such an underappreciated component of democracy. I think so. Like, it does obviously help workers on an individual level, statistical correlation with higher pay, better conditions, yep. But the impact that unionization has on foundational democracy is really important, something really lacking in the US since its decline in the 50s and 60s. It's no surprise inequality has risen at the same rate as unionization has fallen in this country. Yeah, I mean, that would be... I don't know if it's like the same correlation, but I do agree that that is a very, very interesting connection. And generally speaking, I do think that unionization is good. Unions are good. I think that if you have the option of unionizing, it should be good. Unions should be encouraged. Unions should be encouraged, and I think that for the most part, they do good. Washington, Center for Disease Control, the CDC, residential eviction moratorium set to expire June 30th, is expected to be extended by another month. Sources briefed on the matter told Reuters an announcement could come early as Wednesday. The national ban on residential evictions was first implemented last September and was extended in March until June 30th. The White House and CDC did not comment. On Tuesday, a group of 44 U.S. lawmakers urged the extension, citing an estimate from the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau that about 6 million renter households are behind the rent and at risk of evictions. Ooh. The letter to the CDC and Biden signed by Democratic lawmakers Ayanna Pressley, Jimmy Gomez, Cory Bush, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Carolyn Maloney, and others warned that without an extension, millions of renters will once again face the threat of eviction. The Supreme Court has yet to act on the petition by the landlord groups that have argued the CDC exceeded its authority when it halted evictions to help renters during the pandemic. The CDC imposed a ban to combat the spread of COVID and prevent homelessness during the pandemic, which would be a public health issue. I think the CDC is within their purview. Landlords said property owners have been losing over $13 billion every month under the moratorium. Do you mean like as a collective, like all the landlords collected together? One group estimated 40 million Americans were behind on rent in January, with 70 billion missed payments by the end of 2020. The moratorium covers renters who expect to earn less than $99,000 a year or $198,000 for joint filers who reported no income or received stimulus checks. Renters also had to swear they were doing their best to make partial rate. How do you even like qualify that? I don't know. Renters had also to swear they were doing their best to make partial rent payments and that evictions would likely leave them homeless or force them into shared living quarters. What does that even mean? Congress has approved 47 billion in rent relief for renters, but much of that money hasn't been distributed. Yeah, so I think that the whole point would be to give more time for all of this to get to people, but holy yikes. This is not good. My city is in a position to have a housing crisis if the bubble pops and moratorium is lifted. Yikes. The graphs are frighteningly similar. It was something I noticed a few years ago when I was reading some books that were on different topics. I saw the unique bodily levels from the graph form and I was like, wait, I've seen this graph before. Ah, yeah, definitely. The only nation in the world I know where unions are actually used considered talking points when it comes to healthcare. It's very strange, but also very American. True. Nice, Heat. Howdy, howdy. There's been some intense standoffs in the past few days in Toronto between police and homeless people. Yikes. The Dino Museum, isn't it? Sounds like it'll be good. Nice. Sweet. That sounds cool. That sounds cool. Yeah, so the TLDR is that they're going to continue to kick this down without, like, seriously, meaningfully, like, addressing the actual root of the problem. I don't know. This seems like a band-aid. We'll see.
Toronto police are currently in the process of raiding Trinity Bellwoods Park in an attempt to force out homeless people who have been living there. And the city's residents are standing with the homeless and fighting back. So I'm going to show you a couple of clips here before I get to more details on this whole situation. So Stephen Pawazi here, who's a housing journalist, tweeted out Toronto police getting ready to storm a group of homeless people. They're wearing the ironically named Public Safety Unit patches, which is the unit used like 500 to cops destroying people's tents and all their belongings. Yeah, to intimidate homeless people to hide. So the video that he shares,
like, this is what I don't understand. Like, we already have multiple ways, multiple I guess pilot programs, where other countries or other governments have seen the problem of homelessness and just dealt with it. Okay, they didn't send in the police to just shove them off somewhere else so nobody can see them. No, they solved the problem. They provided the tools, they provided housing and resources. I mean, like, I don't get it. Just deal with the problem. Give people, like, eliminate homelessness. Give people food, housing, education, and healthcare. Just solve the problem. I mean,
from shelter,
and we just went over, like, we just went over a video where companies are literally receiving an unfathomable amount of governmental aid, right? And this is in Canada, but here in the US, we do have a homeless problem. And, like, meanwhile, all of that governmental aid, an unfathomable amount, is going to, like, corporations who are, to my knowledge, not homeless.
Justice Network. And the second video that I'll cut into it afterwards is from Lauren O'Neill of BlogTO.
Yeah, not the socialist utopia. Remember our friend who came over, who came over and described Canada and some of the Nordic countries as socialist? First one to say, but I grew up in the Soviet Union. Homelessness didn't exist until the Soviet system crashed. Well, I mean, yeah. They get UBI but no housing. Yeah, like, that's why I'm like, depending on how it's deployed, I'm not 100% sold on UBI. That's exactly it, Darknet. I'm not 100% sold in UBI. I think that there may be a situation where you could maybe deploy UBI as like a temporary like backstop for, I don't know, the remainder of the year or something like that. But like the idea that like you just throw UBI and think that the problem is solved is not the way to go. So yes, I do see that your point. I guess it comes back to what we said before, the voices, who is the voice of the homeless people, right? That's right. Yeah, like, yeah, oh yeah, hey, listen, and first of all, like, they're homeless. How are they supposed to receive these UBI benefits anyways? And KTS. Yikes.
All right, so as you saw there, the police marching in this show of force, and then later on, protesters standing up for the homeless who are being evicted from where they're living in the park. Now, before I even get to more detail,
I mean, like, even so, we went over this yesterday or the day. No, it had to be the day before, right? Because yesterday was like a really short stream. I just wanted to do some candy yesterday. I think it was the other day where we saw that California was intending on investing hundreds of billions of dollars to buy hotels, motels, and apartment complexes, I think, or build affordable housing in an attempt to just like address this problem, right? Just house the homeless, give them the resources that they need. It's just that simple and cheaper, to be quite honest. Just solve the problem. I don't get it. Solve it.
On this wouldn't even be an issue. This wouldn't be happening if
right, Jared,
the homeless
Jared
had somewhere to live, had a affordable place to live. Toronto, of course, is crazy expensive. So you have people living here who are waiting on subsidized housing, and as I'll get to in a second, they're being offered to live in shelters, but there have been COVID outbreaks in these shelters. People have gotten really sick, and a lot of the homeless, for obvious reasons, don't want to live under those conditions. And they're also given, I mean, there's more rules on them when they're living in those conditions.
Yeah, it's not exactly an easy situation, right? I mean, like, just
okay. Or in shelters. So they want to have their freedom, they want to feel safe, and at the same time they are trying to find a place to live through subsidized housing. But it's an ongoing issue. So the idea of forcing out the homeless before you actually have a permanent place for them to live, that's at the heart of the problem here.
Right. Right. Exactly. Yeah, it's about half. Yeah, just 20,000 a year to house them and provide them the resources that they need. Give them access to give them access to resources like education, trade school, anything, the healthcare that they need. And I mean, I've pointed to this program that Finland did. They literally just gave people a one apartment for the free, nothing, no strings attached. They had resources for them to do like job applications. They had resources. Well, they already have healthcare. They were treated if they needed to be, and 4 out of 5 of them just moved on from the government complexes. They can't fathom giving people a house because in their worldview you have to work for things. It's a different moral argument that they're undeserving because they don't do what everyone else does. And like, but that's not even like, I mean, like, that doesn't even fit because like, there are people who literally work and then still have to go live in their car. That's a thing. That's a thing that happens. It's a question of principle. Yeah, perhaps.
Gave these people a place to live, but the city, of course, focuses more on raiding the homeless as opposed to actually giving them a home. Now, more on this first from CBC here.
That could be a thing.
So the conflict comes after a handful of unhoused people in an encampment in the park agreed to move into temporary shelters. According to the city, the majority are believed to be staying put. City officials estimate there are 20 to 25 people living at the encampment, and there are approximately 65 structures. In a tweet, they said residents are being offered safe indoor space with access to meals, showers and laundry, harm reduction, physical and mental health supports, and a housing worker. Many who live in the camps have said the shelters and hotels offered by the city aren't a desirable option, in part due to the limit on belongings and the rules and curfews imposed. Quote, if there were better options, people would be taking them. We're in this continual cycle of displacement and movement that is harmful to people, and so now we're kind of in this gridlock with the city where they'd rather give out trespass notices with heavy fines and warnings and risk of violence than they would pour money and resources into actually creating subsidies that are sustainable. So this gets to, as I said,
what a fucking clown. What a fucking clown. I definitely used to do that, go to work, then sleep in my car. I mean, it's a thing. I mean, so that's what I'm saying, like, the idea that, like, well, they just did something wrong and they should pick themselves up by the bootstraps thing, whatever. Like, it just never made any sense. I definitely used to do that, go to work, then sleep in my car. I mean, Mama Lee. Yeah. KTS Shine, right here. The working homeless is a growing population, apparently. Yeah, that's a problem. Mm-hmm.
The heart of the issue. This is, you have the city focusing more on evicting and punishing the homeless as opposed to actually putting money and resources into helping them and giving them permanent homes. And this, of course, not just an issue in Toronto, but an issue, I mean, essentially worldwide. So let me give you some reactions online here, as well as some more backstory to all of this. So Matthew Green, NDP MP, tweeted out, when you hear people talk about class war, it isn't hyperbole. And he quote tweets this image here that, yeah, this is class war.
Yeah, there you go. Spread it forward.
Physical form.
Give me homeless people.
This
finds
is
a campaign.
A video I put out
yeah,
a few months ago. And this new story now is sort of an extension of this. So Toronto sues man for helping the homeless. I'll link to that video above and below in case you missed it on YouTube.
Good point,
and,
James.
This is just, so a lot of the homeless living that are living in these parks are living in these small homes that were built by this man who was then sued by the city of Toronto. So you have here just a continual push or cycle of the city doing whatever it can to rid itself of the homeless without actually doing what is necessary and giving them.
Wait, I'm just like rereading this clown's comment. The Homes for Patriots Act. There we go. Now that's a good sell. That is a great sell. Let's provide homes for these hardworking American patriots who have done nothing but do the right thing, have honest jobs, pay taxes. Right? I mean, we could. Hey, listen, we can sell it that way. I don't care. We can if we get homes, if we can end homelessness. This is the way. Let's give all these hardworking, tax-paying American citizens, patriots, homes. They've done nothing but work, honest jobs, and have done nothing but contribute. And hey, maybe even by doing the Homes for Patriot Acts, we can actually expedite their time being on governmental assistance. The HELP Act, Help Every Living Person Act. Nice. Pre-pandemic, 52% of homeless people had full-time jobs. Unbelievable. That's beyond appalling. So now you can sell your soul to the military for an education and a house. Awesome. Cool. No, I'm not in favor of that. Yeah, so I'm just rereading this message that this clown sent. Feminism has never worked well, I think, you know, they don't know how to English, but feminism has never worked anywhere it has been tried. Has never worked. Oh no, hold on. I'm the one that's misreading it. Feminism has never worked. Everywhere it has been tried, it has failed. Really? That's so strange, because I thought that, like, very key feminist movements actually provided women the right to vote, and for the most part has done massive strides forward for women. I don't know. Sounds like somebody's a bit triggered. Feminism definitely worked. It provoked that person to make an entire account about it. Yeah, I was just like curious. Wait, hold on. Hold on. Yikes. We're gonna get to this for a second. I have a full-time job, the right to vote, free birth control under the NHS. I'm doing much better than pre-feminism women. Yeah. There you go. How do you do, fellow centrists? That's a troll ad-lib of a comment. Yeah. Oops. Okay, hold on. Let me finish this.
Them homes. So, I mean, think of all the wasted time, money, and resources on evicting the homeless. All of that time and money could have been spent on actually helping people who can't afford to live. More here.
Yeah,
Lorraine
the
Lamb,
2000 election broke Florida.
Who does outreach for Sanctuary Toronto, tweets out some of the backstory to all this. So this is about a motion that was passed that has now led to more of these evictions happening. So Holiday's zero encampments goal motion passed last week, but how? Through affordable/accessible housing? Great, but there's none. 80,000 plus households waiting for RGI housing. Through bulldozers, cops, violence likely. Ask those who voted yes what their plan is. So, in case you want to know, if your city councilor voted yes or no on the goal of zero encampments, there you go. Now, to be fair, some of them may have voted yes on this thinking that, yeah, sure, let's have a goal of zero encampments, meaning that we're going to give them homes. But if you voted yes, I think you kind of know the direction that the city is going based on where it's been going for a while. So hiding behind that claim, I just don't think it makes a whole lot of sense unless there was already these investments going into helping the homeless get permanent homes, which of course there has not been. A little more here from Lorraine Lamb, who says, quote, we will, quote in the city here, we will enforce bylaws to help people move from encampments to safer indoor spaces. The shelters aren't safer. Data shows an increase of violence in the shelter system, overdose deaths, COVID deaths. Listen to these experiences. So I will link to this article here from CP24, where you have many homeless discussing their experiences in these shelters and why they rather live in the park until they can get permanent residence as opposed to living in a shelter. Last tweet here from Allison Craig. If anybody who was/is arrested today at the Trinity Bellwoods encampment needs legal advice, give me a call. I'll help for free. So this is a lawyer. I will link to her below the video. So if you happen to be in Toronto, maybe you were a protester who was arrested, maybe you know someone homeless who was arrested, Allison Craig here, willing to help pro bono. So check that out. And that's it. This story, I mean, this is a story that never ends, especially as someone who's been watching this going on in Toronto for a while. You're going to have, there's going to continue
has not been contract security company for like 20 minutes to now patrol these parks.
And doing so without actually offering them any real solution.
Yeah, no real solution to a very real problem. Seems to be the theme, right? Okay, I was gonna do this local story because I think this is important, especially considering that this is also a thing. Yeah, this is totally a thing. But holy yikes. I want somebody to confirm this, but if this is true, This is holy yikes. This is pretty disturbing, to say the least, right? Governor Ron DeSantis signed legislation requiring students, faculty, and staff at Florida's public universities and colleges to register their political views with the state as a way to encourage intellectual diversity. This is a nice meme. Hey, in case you haven't noticed, with the patterns that we have drawn up whenever I cover Ron DeSantis. It seems to me that this is growing into more and more consolidation of power to the state. It is incredibly disturbing that even the idea went through his head that we need to require students, faculty, staff. Which staff? Does that mean like the janitor needs to register their political views? I'll show you here. Just stick around for me for a second. I'll show you. I wonder if conservatives actually know climate change is fucking shit up by the day, but deny it because it's securing their future is more important than just existing. Yeah. What happens if I change my views, or if I have views that don't fit into a particular state-designated label? I don't know. It seems kind of hoo-hoo boy. Oh, send it to me in DMs, Mama Lee. I mean, besides the horror of registering one's political views with the state, yeah, like, can we just start there? Hold on, aren't these the same people who are like, wait, I don't like the government intruding in my private life. What I do in my private life is none of the government's business. But also, we need to make sure that students, faculty, and staff at public universities and colleges register their political views with the state. What? Yeah, incredibly authoritarian. You know, the conservatives like often meme about 1984, but holy yikes. Yeah, no. Right, when I moved to different states and update my license, each state has little tricks they use to capture your political affiliation and race. You can usually find this info publicly, which is why we get so many targeted political calls. Gotcha. Yeah, but it's one thing if they know your party affiliation, things like that, whatever, because like that doesn't mean a single thing. That doesn't mean absolutely nothing. But this is wild. This isn't like everyone needs to register their party affiliation. No, this is wild. This is everybody needs to register, required to register their political views. Political views. This is ooh, boy. I used to believe in small government, leave me alone views espoused by Republicans. It's more clear than ever that they'll say and do whatever it takes to move the US towards a white Christian ethno state. I mean, like, this I don't even know if, like, necessarily, like, this has, like, the whole entire thing here. The problem with this is, the state having the ability to require you to register your political views, and B, what does that mean? What does that mean? Why would you need to be required as a university student, faculty, and staff? Like, what political views are you supposed to put there? What options are there? And of course, And of course, they couch it in, quote, a way to encourage intellectual diversity. Huh, weird. First of all, what does that mean? What does that mean? Intellectual diversity. Ah, here we are. And protect intellectual diversity. Speaking at a Fort Myers middle school, DeSantis stressed the need for a robust civic understanding and a diversity of thought to provide people the fundamentals of their rights and duties as citizens. Okay. DeSantis is already a frontrunner for the 2024 Republican presidential nomination. If he chooses to run, has been writing the recent resurgence of conservatives to fight over education in the recent weeks. The bill signatures are the latest in a flurry of education measures DeSantis has pushed in this time. At his request, earlier this month, the Board of Education voted to prohibit schools from teaching critical race theory, which is based on the premise that racism is embedded with American society and institutions, the controversial theory, which actually isn't taught in Florida public schools. So thanks for giving us a solution to a problem that doesn't exist. You're just making this up. Has become a new national flashpoint for Republicans in the lead up to 2022. The measures, two of the measures address civic education. HB 5, which passed legislation unanimously, requires the Department of Education to revamp government education, including through Portraits of Patriotism, a video library of first-person accounts from immigrants who lived under authoritarian regimes. High school government courses will include a comparative discussion on political ideologies. The measure also includes the lessons on the evils of communism and totalitarianism. I'm sure they will be fair and balanced, and also provide us an alternative view to the problems with capitalism. I'm sure. We have a number of people in Florida, particularly southern Florida, who have escaped totalitarian regimes. Oh yeah, this is his quote. He also cited surveys showing a lack of civic knowledge among Americans, including answers to questions on citizenship tests. A robust civics education, he added, is necessary. Okay, second bill. Where is this one? Here. I want to know where this require those to annually survey the... Oh, okay, I see. Alright, here we are. This is what I want. It used to be thought that HB 233, which requires an annual intellectual diversity survey. Wait, hold on. We, those who don't believe in the value of diversity, will also begin to keep track of all the ways in which you people are diverse. Yeah. Wait. Yeah, don't tread on me, just tread on those people over there. Wait, hold on. Is he? Guys, wait. Is Ron DeSantis advocating for equity in education? Ooh. Is he advocating unironically for equity in education? Unfortunately, now the norm is these more intellectually repressive environments. You have orthodoxies that are promoted and other viewpoints that shunned or even suppressed. We don't want that. So your plan is to literally do inequity. I was watching A Difficult Truth earlier today. Wait. That must be another A Difficult Truth. He said hiring faculty with a range of... Yeah, so he wants to do equity. He wants to do equity based on political views. That's what he does. He said hiring faculty with range of political views and values would be essential to providing a quality education in Florida's public institutions. I see. Proudly racial. Gotcha. You need to have a true contest of ideas. Students should not be shielded from ideas, and we want a robust... Okay, but... I don't believe this. HB 233. Can we get like an actual... Florida... Oops. HB 233, because obviously we gotta do it on our own. General Bill, blah 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 blah. Prohibits State Board and Education, BOG, from shielding students, staff, and faculty from certain speech. Requires State Board of Education to conduct annual assessments on intellectual freedom and viewpoint diversity. Creates a cause of action for recording or publication of certain video or audio recordings. Revised provisions related to protective expressive activities. Is this what they mean by they're gonna have Wait, why would they do this? This seems incredibly, like, bizarre. It's not the job of teachers who teach ideology, so wait, hold on. It's not to teach ideology, it's their job to teach critical thinking. True. So get this, there's a recent proposed bill by a mayor to raise the price of water if yourself paid to winterize and maintain the water infrastructure. And of course, on Karen Book in a community group, someone posted saying it would quickly call the local reps and tell them they don't want it. Of course, the old boomers are quickly screaming about how they won't allow a price increase. Wait, hold on. Oh, okay. I mean, yikes. People literally died, and I'm much too self-absorbed to alleviate that because I'm not one of those people who died. Wait. Prohibiting the State Board of Education from shielding college students from certain speech, requiring Board of Governors to annually publish such assessments by a specified date. Okay, so this is what they mean. They conduct an annual assessment to intellectual freedom, viewpoint diversity. So they want to know, like, who believes in what. It sounds like this is a staff issue, like if they can boot left-leaning professors out and claim diversity. Right, because like what he's advocating for is essentially political equity. But the problem with that is, like, there's a reason why some ideas aren't that popular. Maybe it's because they're dumb, and maybe it's because those ideas don't work. That's why they're not popular. I was reading the Supreme Court decision involving UFW, and it's a major blow against union organizing. Yikes. Alright, so the point is, I think that what they're saying here is this here. Send it to me, Aldo. Send it to me in DMs. The state will require taxpayer-funded colleges and universities to issue surveys to determine the extent of which competing ideas and perspectives are presented. We'll whisper it to me. Yes, on campus, whether students, faculty, and staff feel free to express their beliefs and viewpoints, although it's not clear what will be done with the results. Yeah, so that's kind of weird. That's kind of weird. Yeah, I don't know, like... It seems kind of weird, it seems kind of intrusive, and I will say that it seems even authoritarian to mandate this by the state. You know, authoritarian to mandate this by the state, because like then what are we going to do with this? Are we going to start eating certain political ideologies for the sake of having others raised up that maybe aren't so popular? Because this isn't like this isn't like a thing where we like, oh, you know, we need to help these like marginalized people, right? This isn't the same. Ideas that aren't popular or don't work don't have the floor for a reason. If they were popular, if they made sense, then they would be the ones who had the floor. This is so weird and so frustrating. I don't know. Seems kind of weird. That seems like a ploy to get more intelligent design professors, and they can claim the scholars believe in it. Yeah. Yeah, because it's alternative ideas for the sake of diversity. Holy yikes. Yeah, the Republican Jesus. Right, they could determine how much schools receive in funding based on how they lean politically. Yep, and guess what? They could make that whatever they want it to be. They could make that whatever they want it to be. That's a problem. Yeah, it seems like they... In California, regulation grants labor organizations the right to take access to an agricultural employee's property in order to solicit support for unionization. California Code registered code. Agricultural employees must allow union organizers onto their property for up to 3 hours per day, 120 days per year. The question presented is whether the access regulation constitutes per se physical taking under the 5th and 14th Amendment. So what they're saying is they, right, that's right, Helio. So what they're saying is that they technically don't have to allow you to do this. Is that what I'm getting at? Right, employers and schools will be able to see your political affiliation and decide whether or not to accept you. Yeah, that could be a huge issue down the line. Yeah, it seems like they said no. The question implied here is, does the regulation count as government taking your land to give to union organizers? In Constitution, they can't do that unless they pay the owner. Ah. Which is why he mentioned this, right? Physical taking. Yeah. Taking the clause can be taken without compensation. The state just applies not just to the government. Yikes. But it's not exclusive, so it should be no. But no private property can be taken without compensation. The same thing that was used to decide Kello versus New London applies not just to the government. So they're not allowed to do this? They're not. So then how are they supposed to unionize? So then how are they supposed to unionize? Fringe. What did the court decide about the application? I'm gonna be honest, I have no idea how to read this. The district court denied the grocer's motion for preliminary injunction and dismissed the complaint, holding that the access regulation did not constitute a per se physical taking because it did not allow the public access to grocer's property in a permanent and continuous manner. A divided panel of the Court of Appeals affirmed, and rehearing en banc was denied over dissent. So they said no. But I have no idea how, like, this works. It makes me feel like, then, well, now that how are they supposed to unionize is what I'm asking then. I'm not sure. I posted the link in chat, but I am nowhere near educated in legalese to understand this. Yeah, so this is pretty cringe, no doubt. Thank you, Surfer Go Gritty, Mama Lee, for bringing this to the attention. This one we're just gonna go TLDR. There's your bipartisanship right there. There's your bipartisanship. Just flat out right there. Yeah, we all knew that was coming when Manchin was going to go to vote. Yes, yeah. So we went over this one. This one was kind of a meme article, so we can skip this one. Students sue Indiana University and federal court over vaccine mandate. Big mad that the school is attempting to provide some modicum of public health. They think that mandating the vaccine, the COVID vaccine, is unconstitutional. By that logic, then all vaccinations that you've had to even in universities, are also unconstitutional, but you never complained about those. Yes, James. I mean, sorry. You can work somewhere else. If you don't want to get vaccinated, okay. Fine. The 50 GOP senators, please vote them out. Yeah, I mean... Yep. Alright. The wonders of at-will employment. Yeah. Local Florida government can't restrict dirty energy under new sign by DeSantis. Another great one. The reason why I'm focusing around DeSantis is because of the recent surge in national profile this guy has been receiving. I mean, I was saying this for quite some time. I think he's building his national profile. I think he's doing a lot of things to posture. I think all of these things are political posturing to bring up his national profile because he's going to run. And that's why we need to make sure that we understand, if he does decide to run, who this guy really is. I didn't read in full detail, so I don't know if specified who the workers were and if they were doctors. I don't think they were doctors. I don't know. It's really irrelevant. The hospital made the right decision. All businesses should follow suit. True. He's outpolling Trump in some polls. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I knew it. He's building his national profile. It's the only reason he's doing the things that he is. However, this is incredibly important because climate change is like a thing, and we're going to go over this one. So really quickly, Florida is leading the way into disaster. Local governments in Florida can no longer be allowed to stop utility companies from using certain fuels to get power to their customers, no matter what the environmental impact could be, under a new law signed by Governor DeSantis. The governor signed HB 919 into law June 21. Specifically, it stops city or county governments from putting rules in place that control what types of energy are used by power companies to supply their customers with electricity. So again, this is Ron DeSantis taking it upon himself to dictate to Florida, to the people of Florida. For Florida, this means that city and county governments can't stop companies like FPL or Tampa Energy from using whatever fuel they like, regardless of potential environmental impact or cost to consumers. Still, the companies will be subject to some regulation by the Florida Public Service Commission. The two-page law explicitly voids any resolution, ordinance, any resolution, ordinance, rule, code, policy, or action from before July 2021 that place restrictions on fuel types for utility companies. For Florida city and counties, it simply erases any rules that were already in place before July 1, even the ones that Florida residents supported or voted for. Nice. Good job, Ron DeSantis. Really doing the whole democracy thing. Really doing the whole small government thing. But he is effective at getting hard right-wing things passed. Yeah, I mean, he's doing it. He's doing it, and he keeps giving the state of Florida more and more power to him. It's kind of weird. Kind of weird. Through the passage, the bill only restricts the larger state government is enacting are the ones that block smaller government bodies from controlling the fuel types utilities under local area of control. Right, because he wants to be the one that dictates this. A Florida House analysis of the law says it prevents local governments from enforcing a resolution, ordinance, rule, code, or policy, or take any action that restricts or prohibits or has the effect of restricting or prohibiting the types of fuel, sources of energy production which may be used by the following types of utility entities: investor-owned electric utilities, municipal, rural, co-ops, entities formed by the interlocal agreement to generate, sell, and transmit electric energy. Yeah, all of basically any way, shape, or form of you can getting your energy. Well, whatever is cheaper, and guess what? With all of this, most likely it's going to encourage more fossil fuels. My brother used to work in Journey Peat for heating there in Sweden. The winters don't get cold enough to require the extra heating anymore. Yikes. Just yikes. Critics of HB 919 are concerned that the new law will allow the state's power companies to focus more on profit and less the needs of their consumers or environmental dangers posed by non-renewable fuels, while removing the voices of Florida's communities. True. Yep, so just saying, as we move closer and closer to 2024, this guy is probably, depending, maybe there. I agree, BPCL. I agree. Because of policies like his, and the general stance of the Republican Party, we are now at T-minus what? 9 years before we can attempt to turn the ship around. Otherwise, hey guys, you want to see the new norm? You want to see the new norm? The Arctic Circle hits 100 degrees Fahrenheit, its hottest temperature ever. This past weekend, a small Russian town in the Arctic Circle hit a scorching temperature of 100.4 degrees Fahrenheit. While the temperature has to be verified by experts, if it stands, it would be the hottest temperature ever recorded in the Arctic Circle. The small Russian town of Verkhoyansk is known for brutally cold winters and is one of the coldest towns on Earth. However, temperatures in recent months have skyrocketed double digits above average temperatures. The average high temperature is 68 degrees Fahrenheit, meaning this record day was over 30 degrees hotter than average. For reference, the coldest month of the year, Verkhoyansk, is January, where the high is on average negative 44. If you read that correctly, negative 44 degrees is the average high temperature in January. Yeah. Yeah. Before this record-breaking high temperatures in Siberia were on average 18 degrees higher than normal in May. This past May broke the record for the hottest May since records keeping. And it continues. And it continues. There's just not being done on all levels, personal, national, and global. Right, there's nothing being done on the personal level because there's nothing being done on the national and global level. The Arctic is about to become a new hot vacation destination. Yeah, I mean, whew. If the Arctic is getting hotter than the temperate zones, that probably changes all of the models. Yeah, and we don't know just how serious or just how effed that kind of changes the dynamic yet again. Where we find ourselves that, like, oh wait, hold on, we may not actually have 50 years, we actually now have 10. I don't know, just to give you an example. It's not real data, but my point being is, like, the more this kind of gets locked into these feedback loops, the more unpredictable our timeline gets, right? We don't necessarily know how quick this is happening, but every time, it seems to me, every new study seems to me that it's getting, the time period left is getting shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter. Yeah, and that's usually the the far right counterpoint. I could see the tipping point being like today. Yeah. I mean, the tipping point has been debated back and forth because the data, you know, changes. It changes. Sometimes we find out that it's actually very closer than we expected. It's more severe than we expected. And the more we find out, it seems to me, the worse it gets. The more data comes back, and the more pieces of the puzzle we start adding, the more bleak the picture becomes. Most of Europe has 30 Celsius, which is really hot for them. Climate change has gotten so weird that Scotland has the preferable weather of sitting about 20 degrees Celsius. Also, there's less AC, and these places and humidity of the heat. Yikes. Yikes, Memius. or just literal. Been reading a good book just now about a guy named Chris Funk, which talks about the changes we're seeing even now because of climate change and how that will amplify in 30 years as temperature continues to rise. His take is particularly useful because he works as a climate hazard scientist and helps advise a lot of NGOs around the world. Yeah, I mean, like I said, the more we find out, the more we do data and studying, the more it seems to me, the more screwed we are, right? The Arctic Circle, which is defined as anything above 66.5 north latitude, has experienced more extreme warming as a result of climate change than lower latitudes. It is well known that the poles warm faster as a result of climate change. For example, the average increase in temperature on Earth over the past 40 years is 1.4 degrees Celsius. In comparison, the Arctic has warmed about more than 3.5 degrees Fahrenheit during that same period, more than double the global average. Yeah. Yeah. Wow, Cower. Yes, that's true, spread it forward. It's the end of the planet, the end of the America, just make Russia king. Nah. It's not the end of the planet necessarily, but it is going to put us in a very, very, very bad position for humanity. There's going to be a lot of people who are going to suffer. There's going to be a lot of people who are going to suffer. I don't know if it's the end of humanity. I doubt it, but it's going to create a lot of suffering, conflict, destruction. It would behoove us to get ahead of this. And like, not only that, what's going to happen? Like, this is all locked in terms of like how the feedback loops are locked in. So as things get hotter, right? Areas that used to not rely on AC will now need AC, which now needs to burn more energy, which now needs to continuously perpetuate emissions, unless obviously we do everything humanly possible to get ourselves off fossil fuels as quickly as possible in as many ways as possible. This is just so, like, not good. This is not good. According to NASA, Earth's pole warm faster than the rest of the planet because of large-scale energy transport from atmospheric processes. The poles receive their heat from atmospheric and oceanic systems, which again, if the oceans are messed with, if the ocean currents that generate weather are messed with, it's going to have another domino effect that we don't know how that's going to be. We know it's going to cause a lot of problems. There's so many things that will change. Like, I remember seeing a model they drafted on how changes in humidity and heat will cause a migration of mosquitoes because they don't like temperatures too warm. Yep. Not only that, like, not only will that become an issue in terms of, like, obviously diseases and all this other stuff, our ability to make food is going to be different. It's not going to be in the same areas. It's not going to be in the same, like, weather areas, right? People are eventually going to run out of ways of making food and how we've always done it. It's going to cause and create pathways for conflicts as people see that more and more areas like the coast and other areas get desertified and coasts get swallowed up by storms and the sea. This is going to cause massive movements of people. Water is going to be a problem. I mean, like, this is all just not good. Not good. As warming continues, these systems are exacerbated, bringing disproportionately more heat to the poles. Yep. And of course, all of this affects weather, which all of this affects how we do things. During climate change are often the same people who oppose immigration. They don't see that climate change will cause not just mass migration, unfathomable migration, because they won't have any choice. So apocalypse time, just for a moment. It was just for a second. Significant amount are because of their economic conditions have worsened because of climate change. Yes, that's also true. They were already poor, but at least they were starving because of the certification. That is also a piece of it. Yeah, why can't we all just be like Costa Rica? True. Alright folks, unfortunately it is about to be 11:30, so I do have to get going. I appreciate all of you guys hanging out. Thank you. You guys are what makes this channel grow. If you guys enjoy the content, make sure you hit the follow button, do the YouTubes. That's right, Darknet. Why can't we be like Costa Rica? Do the YouTubes, join us on Discord to keep up with the channel. And we'll be back tomorrow, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, doing the news and politics. Every day, from Monday through Thursday, and join us on Saturdays for Saturday Catterdays. Kitty cats guaranteed. Kitty cats are guaranteed. I think they just see SMS-13 coming to steal their TVs. Yeah, unfortunately. I appreciate all of you guys. Please stay safe. Please take care of each other. I love you all, and I hope to see you guys in the next stream. See ya! Alright folks, hang with me. Yeah, they don't like to think critically. Okay, let's give Ben a visit. Alright folks, hang with us. We're heading over to Ben's channel. Thank you guys, thank you. I appreciate all of your support. I appreciate it. Thank you, Idan. Thank you, Surfer Girl Gritty. Thank you, Darknet. Thank you, Spread It Forward. Thank you, Grolem. I appreciate it. As always, thank you. And let's head out. Let's show some Ben. Let's show some love to Ben. See ya.